buckets of firm sizes. Firms of all sizes responded to that survey. 90% of the responses were from firms decision makers. So this is a very solid information that we have in front of you. So if you look at this pie, the orange pie represents the firms that offer CAS, and gray does not, those who do not offer CAS. So in sole practitioners, for every firm that did not offer CAS, 2.3 firms offered CAS. In 2 to 10 staff firms, the number went up to 8.61. Massively went up at 11 to 50 staff members, 18.32 firms offering CAS against one firm of that size not offering CAS. 51 to 100 went to 6.07, and more than 100, 4.33. So if you take the top row, you can see the smaller firms are actually more active in offering CAS. Does not mean that the bigger firms do not really offer, but many bigger firms tend to specialize in audits and things like that. So that might be one of the reasons you see some numbers less than the smaller firms. Right? So before we really go into the top 5 challenges, I thought it is important for all of us to be on the same page on what is CAS. At Accountants World, we sell our solutions only to professional accounting firms and payroll firms, so we don't sell to their clients. So what it means is basically we interact with only accounting firms, and we get quite a good feedback, insight into how the accountants are offering CAS. And according to our internal thinking, what we feel CAS is about making all of your clients successful when you're offering CAS services to them, versus not just to pick a few and give them a better service. But we thought, okay, let's find out from the market what CAS is. So the survey asked a question, what kind of services do you offer under your CAS umbrella if you say you offer CAS? So this is what came up as the top services under the CAS banner or the CAS umbrella. So starting from left, 86% of the CAS firms offer bookkeeping, 83% of financial statements, profit and loss, income statements, reports, 72% offer business advisory and consulting services. This came out to be larger than what I personally expected. Payroll tax and compliance services, 69%, write-up 67%, and payroll processing 64%. Write-up and bookkeeping, I just want to clarify, because we generally use write-up and bookkeeping pretty interchangeably, those words. But write-up is typically when your client has already done their business transactions and you just get bank statements, credit card statements, and you write those up into an accounting software and produce financial statements. That's write-up. Bookkeeping is when you're dealing collaboratively, interactively, more real-time with your customers, and as they go along making their business decisions and transactions, the books get created. So bill payments and things like that when you're interacting with the clients. Surprise, surprise was the payroll part of the process. The number of services offered, and among those top services came payroll. And I remember when I started working in the profession years ago, there was a typical sentence that you heard from accountants many times: payroll is all pain and no gain service. And that has changed significantly over a period of time, and typically because of a lot of automation and intelligence that is built into current age payroll solutions. A lot of smaller firms are offering payroll processing as well as payroll compliance services. I'll come to that in a bit. Some of our customers, they actually told us payroll is their most profitable service among all other services. Okay, so these were top services. What are the next top services? I call them the emerging stars, because this is a trend that I have seen picking up over the last 2-3 years or so. 1 in 2 firms that offer CAS also offer bill payment services. About 2 in 5 firms offer outsourced or virtual chief financial officer services. And 37% firms offer cash flow management services to their clients. Now, why do I call these emerging stars? Because one, If you take a look at, let's say, 5 years ago, you wouldn't find too many firms offering these services. And in the last year alone, I don't know, I lost count of how many accountants came to us and here at Accountants World as well as contacted me personally. Hey, how do I transition to offering CFO services? So this is definitely picking up again. Possibly the reason is intelligent and more improved technology tool sets that firms have at their disposal now. So having seen what CAS exactly is, and we have a common definition of CAS in front of us now, what I also found in this survey, as well as with my interactions with many accountants, is CAS is basically a leverage model for accounting firms. And this 1:2 applies in many different facets of an accounting firm's practice. I found from the survey that the firms that said they do not offer CAS versus the firms that said they offer CAS, non-CAS firms, or if they offered 5 or 6 services, CAS firms offered between 10 to 12 services. That's about twice the number of services CAS firms offer compared to non-CAS firms. They also told us that their average billing per client per month is approximately double than for CAS clients than for non-CAS clients. So that this ratio 1:2 applies there as well. Where this ratio does not apply is in the number of staff members that you need to be able to offer CAS. And that is a very significant finding because most of the CAS firms did optimize their processes and technologies to reduce the manual work itself so that they don't really have to hire far too many people to be able to offer nearly double the number of services. And I'm going to cover this in detail in the next few slides. Right. So before we jump on to that, let's run the poll too, Tom, please.
Yes, absolutely. So let's get that second poll question up. And folks, it's another simple one. It says, my firm already offers CAS, that is performing well, already offers CAS but wants to enhance it. Just about started offering CAS, wants to start offering CAS, or you are not in public accounting. All right, so let's get those answers up here. All righty. Looks to be that we have a little over 80% of people have already responded to the poll. All right, we're just going to give it a couple more seconds here. And just another reminder, folks, there might have been some folks that have come onto the presentation late. If you're having issues answering the poll question, just minimize the screen and answer the poll question, and then you can maximize back into the full presentation. There's just a small glitch in GoToWebinar that doesn't tabulate the answers if you are in full screen. All righty. Looks like we have just about everyone has voted here. We're going once, we are going twice, and we will close it. All right, let's share those results really quick, Hitendra. All right, so the second answer says, my firm already offers CAS but wants to enhance it. That came in at 39%. And then really great to hear, 26% of people say that a firm, they want to start offering CAS. So that's really beneficial for them. And then we also have 13% of people that came in and said they are already offering CAS and it is performing well for them. So that's also beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this sounds really good. This is an exciting result that I'm seeing from the polls. And thank you. So I do see a lot of action in the CAS segment. Plenty of firms at different levels, different stages of their CAS journey. Some of those who have aced it, nailed it, really, really happy about it. And many obviously see a lot of potential to grow and enhance those things. And I'm going to share some of the things that can stall or become hurdles in your practice of CAS. But fortunately, we have experiences from those who have overcome these challenges, and I'm going to share those insights in the coming slides. Okay. So having seen what is CAS, and having seen that a lot of you here today are either offering or wanting to offer CAS, I would still go into why you should be offering CAS and what does the market say, why are those firms offering client accounting services, right? So in the same survey, we figured quite astonishingly some of these answers that were beyond my expectations when I looked at them. I'll start from left and then go towards the right. At the bottom part of the screen, you will see the percentage of firms that agree to a certain finding and those who disagree to that particular aspect of CAS. So CAS firms definitely said CAS is important for their firm's future. But if you look at the percentage who agree, 90%, and just 3% disagreed. What it means is, when I looked at the little deeper data, is even firms that were yet to start offering CAS, not offering CAS, saw CAS as important for firm's future. So there seems to be a unanimous opinion amongst the accounting professional that there is no difference in opinion there, that they must offer CAS. Those who started offering CAS and did something with their CAS practice for, let's say, 2-3 years, most of them said CAS provides superior revenue growth compared to their other services. Then comes the important thing, profit. So 62% firms agreed that CAS provides superior profit margins compared to other services. So I'm going to be skipping the middle part of this slide and coming back to it. 90% of the firms said CAS improves client satisfaction. 85% said CAS attracts new clients and creates new opportunities, 88%. For example, let's say you're a non-CAS firm, you're offering 5-6 services, and you start offering bill payment services. So in absence of offering, let's say, bill payment services, anybody who visited your website, and if they wanted a bill payment service, they wouldn't be talking to you, because they would see, oh, this firm does not offer this service. The more number of services you offer under the CAS umbrella, more the prospect starts talking to you. That's one of the reasons possibly respondents said that CAS attracts new clients and also creates new opportunities. Now let's look at the staff morale point of view. About 1 in 2 firms said the CAS enhances staff morale, and I got a little surprised with that result as well. So I spoke with quite a few firms, and why is it like that? And one of the biggest reasons that I found was most of the accounting firms that offer CAS have some kind of measurement processes in place per client revenue, per client profit, per client the billing increase, and things like that. There's a lot of measurables there on the business side of the story. But internally, not too many firms had some kind of measurement as to how their CAS staff or general staff is doing. So without those measurements in place, some people just couldn't respond to that question. So this is not to say that staff does not get good satisfaction. In fact, I speak with quite a few staff members that actually operate on the CAS ground level of the firms that we service or are our customers. And many of them actually express one common sentiment is when they are talking to their clients and when they feel that they're impacting their clients' lives positively, they feel more satisfied than just crunching the numbers. So I believe this number should be pretty high when you have measurements in place for this kind of the aspect of CAS. Now, let's come to the real topic of today's webinar, the top 5 CAS killers and how to overcome them. So when asked what is stopping you from offering CAS, these were the top 5 responses from firms that did not yet offer CAS. Actually, some of them even wanted to provide CAS but could not get started at all, or some who actually started their CAS journey but struggled in offering CAS. Why were these 5 expressed as the top 5 CAS killers? And there were like 12, 13 different reasons that were also told, but these came out to be on the top. And from what I know, what I experience, I am going to tell you why these are not really the hurdles in creating CAS practice. One simple reason for them is there are so many firms that have overcome these hurdles. And of course, I'm going to share what you can do to overcome these challenges. Right. So going to the 5th reason on the list, 16.67% of non-CAS firms said CAS is not the right fit for our firm. So more likely than not, if you feel CAS is not the right fit for your firm, it is number one, because you believe so. And more than making a CAS fit for your firm, you need to identify the actual hurdles that you feel will stop you from offering CAS. And then you need to recognize that even sole practitioners and small firms, as we saw in the first few slides, do offer CAS pretty successfully. So when can you feel CAS is not the right fit for your firm? So typically, if you don't offer any of these services, accounting, bookkeeping, write-up, payroll, outsource CFO, advisory, so predominantly if you're doing taxes or some specialty services where you don't handle these things, you might feel, oh, CAS is not the right fit. But one thing that I always want accountants to really look at is what is it that is getting more and more automated by technology? And if you're offering predominantly that service, what's going to happen in the future is it's not going to just, I'm not going to say it's going to be, okay, that service will be taken away from the profession. That does not happen. But there will be tremendous fee pressure on such services that can be highly automated. If you have heard of do-it-yourself taxes, for example, you'll know what I mean. And of course, if you don't offer CAS, you wouldn't have relevant knowledge, skills, competencies, processes, experience of offering CAS. So if you're in this situation, you will feel, oh, CAS is not the right fit for my firm. So how do you overcome these challenges? So there are some proven ways that firms have followed to establish their CAS practices. Most of the time, the tax firms that want to go into more year-round accounting services for two reasons. One, of course, the billing gets spread over the year, you're earning throughout the year. And two, by the time your year ends, you're ready with the books which are clean and tax ready, instead of trying to fix the books at the back end when the tax season comes. So many of your clients would be businesses. So you need to look at how many of your current clients are businesses. And if their business is, there's somebody who's doing their accounting. Who does their accounting? Is it the business owner or himself or herself? Is it some internal part-time staff? Is it some external part-time freelancer? Who is it doing the accounting? And when they come to you for taxes, for example, do you feel that their books are in a mess and you got to fix them first before you start preparing the tax returns? So those are obviously going to be your CAS fit prospects. Also, one major reason that you should look at CAS in a different way is if you're not looked at the accounting software and related software available in the market today, with the much greater automation, much better intelligence, much better integration possibilities, you wouldn't be even aware as to how much of manual work that you feel requires to be done in CAS can be actually done by the software itself. And you're going to be focusing more on the insights and value and some kind of processing rather than manually entering all of those details into the software. We get a lot of clients here at Accountant customers at Accountants World that come from desktop solutions. And when they look at the demos of a couple of our solutions, they get pretty surprised. Oh, this can be done automatically. And then they go back and draw to the drawing board and look at their processes. And typically, what happens is when you're trying to look at modern solutions, it also transforms your business processes and sometimes invents new processes at your firm, which are far more profitable for your practice. Right? Number 4, we don't have the right technology for it. 17.42% of the firms said this: we don't have the technology for it. And this was a bit of a surprise and also not a surprise. Most of those firms would be on desktop solutions in their offices, not on cloud, not on hosted solutions. When you don't have technology that can help you collaborate with your clients real time online, you will feel that, oh, we don't have the technology for it. Two, if your technology solutions are in isolated islands, so as to say, that is, they're not talking to each other on a technology basis, meaning they're not integrated. You have to enter the same data in multiple softwares at different points in time. It creates, the flab in the process, which is expensive for you to operate. And one of the biggest reason I find that when people say, "Oh, we don't have the technology for it," is when your clients control the technology. If you ever said that, hey, whatever technology or solutions the clients use, we just use that to deliver the service. And if your clients are paying for that solution and they're giving you the access, basically you are at client's mercy that, hey, they can knock you off anytime from the solution. And two, I started my own career in the accounting profession in the back office of accounting firms. So my company, previous company, we used to provide services to several accounting firms of different sizes. And I still remember we had staff trained on a particular solution that had versions right from 2005 to 2016 when I left that company. And every time the staff would get confused, oh, this happens here, but oh, that's the old one, you know, and that can cause a lot of inefficiency into the system. So if you have this situation where you do feel that, oh, we might not have technology for CAS and it might be too expensive to implement those technologies, you'll be in for a surprise. But before that, let's look at what could be some of the ways in which you can overcome these situations where you feel you don't have the technology for it. And the first and foremost obvious reason, the thing there that you can do is move to the cloud. Cloud solutions have matured significantly over the last 4 or 5 years. It has opened up doors for what they call the app economy or the integration economy. There are so many softwares with application interfaces, APIs that can help softwares talk to each other. And when you go and look at those cloud solutions, come back and also study the impact of those cloud solutions and automations on your firm's processes. So when you go towards cloud solutions, implement them, you cannot really implement those with your old processes because some of those steps would not be required at all. So you definitely need to marry the solutions with your processes. Take control of your firm technology, but you can still give access to your clients. When I ask, our accounting power prospects when they come to us and say, okay, do your clients use accounting softwares? Yeah, many of them use. What do they use it for, really? Do they do accounting, or oh no, they do? Okay, they either write checks, issue invoices, or maybe look at the financial statements or dashboards. So basically, a business owner uses an accounting software for business purposes, not for accounting purposes. And as long as your cloud solution is able to give that access to the clients, they should be happy enough to switch from whatever they're using to a solution that requires them to do only minimal part of the story. And the advantage there obviously is because it's all real time, cloud, same database, whatever the clients are doing in the solution, you as the firm are able to see it then and there, or maybe a weekly review if you prefer, and fix the client errors if you see then and there, rather than wait for the end of the year to fix 12 months of mess. And the next thing that you definitely want to do is integrate with certain solutions that are not just because you want it at the firm, but because your clients need those kinds of solutions. For example, payroll and accounting can be integrated, time and attendance systems can be integrated, HR solutions can be integrated, payment solutions can be integrated, and things like that. So you look at integration as a possibility that you would always want to keep exploring. Number three on the list of the top 5 killers is firms saying, oh, it wouldn't be as profitable as our other services. So nearly 1 in 5 firms said this, that, oh, we are not getting into CAS because, we feel it's not going to be profitable. There cannot be a bigger misnomer than this. 77% of the respondents of that CAS survey said that CAS provides superior revenue growth, and 62% said superior profit growth, right? And here are some quick examples from our own customer base here at Accountants World. Stephen Brewer is a CPA, is the owner of his firm, 20 years in practice in Indiana, Salem, Indiana. And over the last 4 to 5 years, he focused on offering CAS and outsourced CFO services. And he has seen in this time period 75% profit growth with literally no change in the number of clients. So what it means is he hasn't really added too many clients to his practice, but what has happened is his client mix has changed. More of his clients are buying more of CAS and CFO services from this firm. And obviously with the higher fee and higher profitable fee, he has seen a significant impact on his firm's bottom line. And he uses both of our flagship solutions, Accounting Power and Payroll Relief. Then on the other hand, I have an interesting example here. Tyler Wynn, some of you might have already heard about him or attended his podcast webinars for that he's done for us. But he's a very peculiar case. He's a CPA, but he does not offer any accounting or tax services. He just offers pure payroll services. So he himself and 2 staff members, he's the one who gets all the new clients. 60-70% of his time perhaps should be spent in marketing, and rest in overlooking the payroll business. So among these 2.3 full-time people, they process more than 300 payroll clients, about 600, 700 payrolls a month through a very automated way of doing payrolls. And obviously, it's very highly profitable. And again, I would draw your attention to that revenue factor of 1:2. Non-CAS clients give you $1. CAS clients will give you $2. This is just ballpark benchmark experience of several firms. And as I said, again, staffing does not need to be at 1:2. So what you're talking is profitability of CAS is much higher than what you can imagine if you look at it in an isolation. Also, one of our other really cool customers, Jim Sozinski from New Jersey, he showed me a very peculiar, very interesting graphic as to how busy he used to be through the tax season and the tax deadlines and the 15 September and October deadlines. And after he moved more towards CAS model, how his year seemed less busy during tax season. And he was able to actually process more tax returns during the tax season because the books were already tax ready. So that also became more profitable tax season for that firm when they moved to the CAS practice. Let me quickly share one more real insightful information into how profitability can be increased by modern age solutions, technology solutions. This is an example of Payroll Relief, our software that is, again, meant only for professional accounting and payroll firms. So we call it a magic button inside the solution. So after you set up the clients, the employers, the employees, the tax deductions and things like that, pay types, pay schedules and all that, when you process payrolls, what happens with the solution is it automatically processes direct deposits of paychecks, automatically takes care of child care payments, payment of virtually all payroll taxes is done online. E-filing of federal and state payroll forms is done in almost all 50 states to the extent the states allow. Many of them do quite a good job of it. The year-end processing, including e-filing of all W-2s, 941s, and 1099s, many more, it actually goes and collects your payroll processing fee as well. So what I'm trying to tell you here is there are solutions that have evolved over a period of time. And if you're not taking advantage of such solutions, then you're looking at leaving money on the table. So we saw that payroll is one of the top services among the top 6 or 10 services. And this could be one of the major reasons why payroll seems to be a foot in the door technique to open up door for other CAS services, as well as a profitable service in itself. Number two on the list, our clients are not asking for it. Now, this to me again was a bit of a surprise when this result came through in the survey. And what could be the reason why the firm said our clients are not asking for it? So I ran a parallel, like a mini poll on the internet, anonymous. I did not release it to the accountants per se, but just posted it just like that and asked a question. When you hear the word accountant, what is the top word that comes to your mind? And I got like 20, 30 different words, but these two words, tax and balance sheet, put together, it was about 82% of the responses. So this is the possible perception among general public. If most of the individuals, they go to accountants only for tax reasons, then obviously this is the perception. And one of the reasons why clients are not asking for cash services could be the perception itself. And as a firm owner or a firm practitioner, you would want to remove that perception from your prospects and clients' mind. So one key factor that you need to look at is how many times you connect with your clients in a given year, how many touch points. So if you talk to them only once a year, this tax season, done your tax return, see you next year, you have a problem because they just don't know what you do, and hence they don't ask you for it. And this is that typical stage where in the knowledge journey of any human being is, we are at a stage where we say, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. Your job as a cash firm or an accounting firm is to take the customers or prospects from that stage to at least a stage where they say, oh, I know what I don't know. Okay. So once they see the possibilities, that's when they will start asking you for it. So how do you do that again? How do you overcome this kind of a situation? How do you overcome this kind of a thought process? Hey, my clients are not even asking, maybe they don't need it. It's not that. They definitely need it. If you don't offer, they're going to go and find it somewhere else for sure. So again, the same thing you do, you identify your CAS fit clients, and there are some easy ways to find who are the clients who will be CAS fit. So typical businesses, identify the trends in their business. Are they growing? Are they adding more customers? Is their revenue growing? Is their profitability growing? Is their money stuck in inventory? Are they having cash flow issues? A lot of these kinds of growing businesses definitely need professional services from accountants. Uh, the way you make them aware of your CAS capabilities is not just to tell them, hey, now we offer 6 more new services. You might need to take a look at it. That's not going to cut the bill because they wouldn't really know what you're talking. So I definitely recommend all the time is you show the CAS outcome. So your client accounting services processes produce certain things at the end of every cycle. Let's say a monthly report. So it's not just the report. What is the insights in that report, and what can clients do by taking those additional insights? What kinds of business decisions they can make now better if they had those insights? So you want to show those samples of those reports and insights to your non-CAS clients. Only then they will see the value. I remember one of my previous companies, largest for a customer, the firm in Massachusetts, they specialized in restaurant accounting. And their salesperson was a pretty simple, unassuming guy. And he would just go and talk to the restaurant owners who were prospects. He'd go meet them in person. This is pre-corona world, of course, and say, hey, show me your last week's total bills. Where are those bills? And typically the restaurant owner would put 50, 60, 100 bills in front of him on the desk, on the table. And then he would take those bills, keep it down on the floor, pull a report set from his bag and put it in front of the restaurant owner and just quickly go through this. This is the kind of insight that you get on a weekly basis from us. And then he would go and reach back his bag again and pull out just a one pager that showed the entire profitability insight of that restaurant on a weekly basis, including the prime cost ratio and things like that, labor cost, inventory, everything on just one pager. And then he would say, you give me those 100 invoices every week, and I give you these on Monday or Tuesday latest. So that is how he got a lot of clients. At any given point in time, this firm had about 6 restaurants waiting to be onboarded for accounting services, right? So all of this taught me one thing. You tell the what, that is, what will the customer get from your client accounting services outcome. You show the outcome, but you don't tell the how. You want the prospect to ask you, hey, how do you do that? And that's when the client, they're supposed to be paying you for that how. So you tell the what, show the outcome, but don't tell the how. Right? Another thing, how are CAS firms marketing? That is, how are CAS firms letting their prospects and customers know what they're doing, what are their CAS services? So among about 20, 25 different marketing methods that came up from the survey results, these were the top 7 marketing methods. And on the left, you see about 1 in 2 firms seeks referrals proactively, and the same thing, 1 in 2 firms approximately gets more clients from the firm's website. Now, I want you to pay attention to this proactively seeking referrals. This is not just waiting for referrals from your existing clients and hoping for it, that they show up in the door, but actually proactively going and asking for it. So how do you do that? So I spoke with one of the top 100 firms, and they have a manager who is dedicated with this responsibility of seeking referrals. So they don't just go and talk to the clients, hey, give me a referral. So what they do is they track every 3 months for each of their clients. They see how many referrals this particular client gave to the firm. And if they see 0 or 1, this manager would call up the client and say, hey, we think we deliver great service, but obviously you have to think the same. If you're not happy, whatever we feel is of no meaning. And we believe you're not happy, and because we haven't received any referrals. So what is it that we can do to make you happy, and so that you talk about our services to somebody else who might actually benefit from our services? And many times they would say, oh, the client would possibly say, oh, I forgot about it. I actually know this guy. Why don't you talk to this guy? And here is his number. Just tell him John told you to call. So they keep going after this. Another way of seeking referrals is an indirect way of asking for reviews. And this is a great thing that I've seen working for several firms of different sizes is Google reviews. Google basically treats every business as a local business. As long as there is an address and a business name associated with that address, Google thinks it's a local business. And around 20, 30 square miles from that area, if anybody is searching for the services or products that the business offers, Google will show your result to the person who searches. And if you have more reviews than your next door accountant, your result will show up on the top of the list or above that. But I have seen 7, 8 reviews you get, and you start showing up in the first page of the Google reviews, because many accountants don't ask for this. Firm's website. This is again, if you never touched your website once it was created, you want to take a look at it. It's not a brochure where that's going to get you results. It's got to be some kind of content that you keep refreshing. And that's how you will see that you start getting some responses from your website. Plus, your website definitely needs proper contacting options for the prospects to talk to you. Right? I see many times people, it's hard to find the contact us page. It's just info at something, those kinds of email addresses, and I don't know where those go, but you want to take a look at that. Pre-corona world survey, hence you will see 39% people spend time in networking, but I believe a lot of networking now happens online. One of our customers I mentioned, Stephen Brewer, his Facebook group, and he provides services to certain niche industries. So his Facebook group has more than 1,200 members now, and he's gotten clients from about 14 states only from one Facebook group, and that's a free thing. It's not like an advertised group. He just posts content every week, something useful for that particular niche industry. Search engine optimization, where technologists will define certain codes in the backside of the back end of the web pages. I personally don't believe this too much, but because Google is always ahead of this race. Google doesn't want search results to be camouflaged or manipulated. So they keep changing their algorithm. So this is something that if somebody promises you, I'm going to give you number one position on Google, just don't believe it. Content and thought leadership, I see this happening more in the larger firms. But even if you write about your customer experiences, what problems you solve for them, and you keep posting them, you will still find that you get more mileage out of your social media efforts. Influencers and social media marketing, where you utilize somebody else's network to talk about you. And this is also one of the referral mechanisms that people use. So they somehow convince a person with good large network to talk about their service because it's beneficial to their network. It's not just advertorial that they will do, but these influencers need to be convinced about, oh, this is a useful information that my audience should know. And the last factor on the right-hand side, CAS marketing champ. I believe this is going to be a bigger and bigger factor as we go along in the CAS evolution in the profession. Once you have a CAS marketing champion in your firm, maybe it's you if it's a small firm, maybe it's somebody else, and they do some of these activities, you will see more progress. And it's not like, okay, what do we do now? We're not getting CAS clients. Let's do some marketing. That's not the way you would want to do it. You need a champ responsible for your firm's CAS marketing. So with that, can we launch the last poll, please, Tom?
Absolutely, Hitendra. We're going to launch that poll question right away.
Mm-hmm.
So the last poll question is, which CAS offerings do you provide? Write-up, bill payments, payroll, CFO advisory, just write-up in payroll, write-up in financial statements, a combination of the above, or none of the above. All right, and this is the third and final poll question. And Hitendra, we have about 9 minutes left before the top of the hour here. We do have a couple of questions in the questions tab. So we'd like to get to some of those. One quick one that I wanted to ask of you, just going back to firm sizes. Robert asked, as bookkeepers get more involved in higher levels of CAS at lower bill rates, will that reduce CAS opportunities for solo practitioners or 1 to 5 employee CPA firms?
Yeah, I think this is one of the most common questions that I get. Is bookkeeping is related to CAS, but it is not. So bookkeeping is just a beginning of the CAS. If you don't have books in order, you cannot really offer CAS. So books give you an insight into the client's business immediately if you manage the books. And two, you generate insights from the books as to what's really happening with this particular client, and then the advisory things start from there. So if you control the books, you control the CAS progress. That's how I put it. And you'll see that happening when you start offering books as well as, let's say, advisory or reporting services to your clients. You know that, oh, look, there's a lot of money stuck in the inventory and sales are not growing too much. And that insight you get only when you control the books. Yeah.
Yep, totally, absolutely understood. All right, we have about 92% have voted, so going once, going twice, going 3 times on the poll question, and we'll close that up and just quickly share those results. So which CAS offerings do you provide? A little over half, 52%, said a combination of the above, and that includes write-up, bill payments, payroll, CFO advisory. So that is that in line with what CAS offerings you would hope the audience would have?
Yeah, so this is again a pretty interesting insight from this poll. 13% on the top of that list where they offer almost everything. That's where the CAS goes. And then we have combination at 52%, which means some of those services still not there. So you're looking at possibly some firms, or majority of the firms today that are attending offering about 60-70% of CAS services, and they would do well if they add those 2 or 3 additional services that they are missing out on. And I think one major reason could be that you haven't really looked at those services as a complete package, and hence you allow your client to go to somebody else to obtain those services. And those are not the things that clients don't need at all. They obviously get those needs fulfilled from somewhere else, right? So there you need to look at that, and start growing towards that higher end of the CAS, where you do practically almost everything for the clients. Okay, so this is 41% of the firms said we don't have the staffing for offering CAS. And it was not just the solo practitioners said this. I dived deeper into the data of the survey, and I found even the larger firms, some of the larger firms saying that, oh, we don't have the staffing for it. So it has two meanings really. One, we don't have the number of staff that is required. And two, we don't have the staff that is trained for CAS. So those two are two different aspects. So number of CAS staff, that's again a misnomer. As I said, there's a lot of automation possibilities that help you reduce the number of staff required for offering CAS. And I have these numbers right in front of you, 85 to 95%, that line. So what I found among the users of our solutions here at Accounting Power, we have bank feeds that are totally integrated within the Accounting Power solution. And typically when we talk about bank feeds, we're talking of 3 different entities, right? Accountants World, Accounting Power solution, the internet in between, and the bank, and the fourth entity, of course, is a major one, which is the integrator. We use a third-party integrator, world's largest, to bring in the bank data into Accounting Power. So among these entities, if something fails somewhere, some rural bank does not have enough technology, you will find that, oh, some of the banks are not there in the system. But we found that about 60-70% of your clients, if you can put them on bank feeds, which generally seems to be the average, and you can minimize the manual work for write-up and entering transactions from statements into the accounting solution by 85 to 95%, just by using about 75% of your clients on bank feeds. We saw that impacts the cost by about 65%, and the profit from that work goes up by 55%. So this is the real life number that we have from several of our customers when we did the research on them. And one thing that I kept hearing from the market before we really launched bank fees like 2-3 years ago in Accounting Power was accountants were kind of frustrated that their clients use the bank feeds to pull the data into the accounting solution, not ours, the largest solution out there in the market, which is used by a lot of small businesses. But they don't know where exactly those transactions go. And every time the accountant received the books, so as to say, they had to go and clean up a lot of those. And again, the next month, the clients made the same mistake. And I believe from what I read in the market is, the accountants actually requested the company to not allow their clients use bank feeds, let only accountants use. So when we were designing our solutions, unfortunately, we sell only to accounting firms. So we look at those kinds of possibilities, and we said, okay, wait, this is going to cause trouble if accountants have to go in and correct the transactions. So that's not good. So that's rework. So let's bring in, hold the transactions at a staging area, match as many as possible, and then give the opportunity to the professional accountant to look at those transactions and say, okay, these are clear, ready to post, and then post, rather than going and correcting. So we took a very different approach of designing that kind of a system. And perhaps that's one of the reasons why we see these numbers that we are showing up here on the screen. Also, you look at this way. With all this automation, integration possibilities, and reduction in manual work, what you're talking about is the same number of staff members actually able to deliver or handle 2 to 3 times more number of clients. That is, per staff member, how many clients can you handle? in your firm that goes up very significantly. And this we have seen excellently depicted by Tyler Wynn's example. Two staff members, payroll dedicated to payroll, managing more than 300 company payrolls every month. An automated solutions not just bring data or documents that are fetched into the solution. Processing can be automated, reporting can be automated, alerts can be sent, notifications can be sent. So what I'm trying to say here is you can even automate client communication based on the steps of the work that you do. So if you're using Outlook predominantly to send out PDF reports by attaching those to emails and then sending to your clients, you need to definitely take a look at the entire client service process that you have, because a lot of these solutions are able to offer really cool instant alerts and services to your clients, either through these notifications, through emails, through mobile application notifications, and several such options. And solutions are becoming more and more and more intelligent. When at our end, when we see repeating patterns, we kind of try and figure out, oh, can we automate this step? Because most of the time, this is what is happening. But what if there is an exception? So in that case, how do I alert the user that, look, the system has this rule, but this could be an exception. So what we're trying to say here is for routine work that kind of repeats every time period, a week or a month, and if there is no changes, why should you be processing that? It should be automatically brought for processing, and you just give your decision, yes, go ahead, or stop, I need to make a change, right? So those are the things that you would want to do. Plus, one big thing that we see now is the client collaboration access. So accountants get the work from their clients, but they also offload some work back to their clients. For example, in payroll, a lot of employers want to enter their own time and attendance data because they don't want to pay somebody who should not be paid. So they want that control. So they don't need a whole full-fledged payroll software for that. All that they need is ability to enter time and attendance data. Or for accounting, they want to make sure they're the ones who are signing the checks and writing the checks. So you give them only that access, but you prepare the payables. Or you might want to say, okay, you approve the payments, Mr. Client, and I will send out digital checks through my accounting solution. So one click, checks go to all the vendors that are supposed to get the payment. So there's plenty of these things, your day-to-day processes that can get automated. And that's where you will look at your CAS as profitable segment of your practice, and also that you don't have to really worry about, oh, I will need too much staff. So with that, I think I've covered most of the things that I wanted to say, Tom. So if there are any questions, I would like to take them now.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much, Hitendra. We're up against the clock here a little bit. There's just one question I'll ask that came in from Tanya. She mentioned that one of CAS's, quote, emerging stars, close quote, you mentioned is cash flow management. What does that entail? I guess just briefly explain.
Right. So cash flow management is typically applicable to businesses who either sell on terms, that is, they sell today, but they receive payments after 30 days, 60 days, or they buy from their vendors and make the payments after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever those terms are. And then you have periodic payments to be made, overheads, utilities, payroll, and things like that. So there are times when the cash comes into the business, and then there are times when the cash goes out of business, right? So what happens with these kinds of businesses, if the number of transactions is typically larger, they lose track of how much money is really there in the bank accounts. And many times they have what is known as cash overdraft accounts with banks. So if the cash flow, there's a mismatch, the outgoing is more today or this week than the incoming, they borrow money from the bank and they pay financing costs. So when you are the accountant offering cash, you're able to know, oh, these are the payments that you will line up in the payable. So you know exactly when these payments are going to go out. And you're able to actually work out every week's cash in, cash out comparisons and talk about, hey, Mr. Client or Miss Client, in the third week of this month, you will need to take an overdraft, but you can avoid that in finance charges if you can receive payments from 3 of your top customers that are outstanding for 67 days. That can get you $100,000 in, and you don't need to worry about this paying this overdraft fees. So that is the cash flow management that you can do. There's another side to it, is you actually manage the payments or make the payments through electronic means, or receive the payments, or actually follow up with the payments for the payments from the customers. So you can expand that operation. Okay.
All right, terrific. Well, Hitendra, thank you so much for your presentation today. It was very in-depth, it was detailed, and I think our audience is better for understanding all of these wonderful CAS opportunities. So once again, folks, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you once again to Hitendra. That was great stuff. We do have another presentation that's going to be coming up in just about 2 weeks here. Is with Brian Tankersley, the director of K2 Enterprises, and he is going to be discussing robotic process automation and artificial intelligence concepts for accounting professionals. So just as we're trying to work on CAS practices, we can also find out more about sort of the AI and how things are being automated within the accounting profession. So Brian's a terrific presenter, and I know his will be chock full of details on that as well. And that'll be taking place at September 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can sign up for all of this year's webinars at 2020webinars.com. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today, and we hope you have a good rest of your week. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.